Hey, what's up, everybody? I don't know that we need these.
Are we on?
Oh yeah, we're live. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Can you guys hear us?
I was just trying
You
to.
tell me. You tell me if you can hear us and how
trying to
well you can hear
silence
us
my
and all that
computer.
good stuff.
Hold on. I need to reposition myself here.
All right. Looks like it sounds good.
Ouch. Okay.
Oh, I sound great.
I need
Perfect.
my coffee.
Perfect.
I need to.
Remember, you're not going to be all up on them. We need to create a little bit of space. Not a lot of it, but a little bit.
Sorry.
Ooh, hey everybody.
You did not give me enough warning.
No, I just went live because we're almost late. We got things to do. Hey, thank you so much for being here and being a part of this. We got a lot of really cool stuff that is going on here. We left the door open, and so I'm gonna go close that real quick.
Okay. Hey guys. No.
You didn't leave it.
No, I was gonna offer to go get it. We're really put together here. Sounds like. Yeah, we have microphone colors. I don't know if it is. I mean, I have the red one because red is my favorite color. And blue is Bubba's current favorite color. I say current because it changes all the time.
It's gonna be blue for a while. Don't worry about that.
So, yeah. Well.
One day I'll tell you the story of the Bubba uninstalling OBS and rolling back to 27.2.4. One day, not today.
You just did that?
Just did that. That's why your thoughts and prayers are. Thank you, much appreciated. Thank you. Hey, for those of you that are sticking around with us, are here, thank you so much. This is a first for us. We're trying a lot of new things. Everything absolutely being destroyed on stream live in front of everybody's eyes is my nightmare. Is my absolute nightmare. I have a level of excellence that's not being hit right now, and so but hey, you know what? You guys are still able to get the goodness that we have for you. You're still able to see and experience the stuff that we have. Sorry that Matt, you and Aaron got cut off. Again, that was my fault. No reason not to take the fall on that one. I reached over to touch anything on my computer, and when you know it, OBS crashed.
Oh.
So,
sorry, Matt and Aaron.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? It's all good. It is what it is. Hey, you guys did great. 2 full games of Welcome to, and then some. So
I was trying to follow along and play. That was my intention.
Was that working? Did it work? Don't worry about me. You do your thing.
No, because
I'm sorry about that.
As I was like, they were really about to start the first turn, and then I had to feed all of my children, and they are so loud, and I couldn't hear anything going on. I couldn't follow anything going on. It was just like, wah, wah. So
here's what we're going to do. We're going to do, this is our first ever live episode of Church Nerds. And it's not one of those things that, this isn't like difficult to do because we live stream a lot of stuff with LTN, but with our schedule and when we actually have to do Church Nerds, and you may already just be looking at this kind of setup and going, it's a little bit different than what I've seen on YouTube. My phone is now the camera that we're using for this.
Yeah.
And we had to figure out a way to get this microphone set up into that computer. And
you say we like I had anything to do with it, which in fact
you and
I did not have anything at all to do with it. No, okay, Matt says we can play Welcome to later.
Okay,
so
good.
That's good.
But we're going to get started. And so if this is your first time with us at listening to Church Nerds or anything like that, Church Nerds is a podcast that obviously Anna and I get to do together. And this was kind of born out of you not having space in my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So we figured it out.
It's like we always have kind of worked to serve as a team at things.
We have tried very hard to do that, yes.
So I was like, I don't know what my role is here. So we just made one up.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So as we're doing this, we're going to be talking today. I'm going to give you guys the scoop. we're going to be doing having a conversation on relationships. And Church Nerds is a time where we can talk about things that are nerdy and also things that are spiritual in nature from a Christian perspective and through a Christian worldview. I like to say, if you're not a Christian, enjoy the peek behind the curtain, because we're going to take you on a little journey. Nobody has to be of any particular faith background in order to be here, but we do welcome everybody. And we want to kind of create kind of an easy space to be into. A lot of what we do at Love Thy Nerd has to do with relationships and those kinds of things. And so in an effort to do that, I want to show you that I'm wearing my podcast pants and also my podcast slippies. And so
did you show them?
This is what they are.
Yeah.
It's poop. It's poop. So, and these are my Bombas socks. Not a sponsor, but dang, man, if you guys don't have Bombas socks.
That was my birthday gift to you. No, not birthday. That was my Christmas gift to you last year. Uh-oh.
That's PJ. And that's what happens. This is why we usually record later.
Late at night.
Because he is sleepy. And he's in a yelly, screamy phase right now. So,
very screamy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So hopefully my kids learn that whatever they're doing right now, they should not be doing to him, because he hates that.
They're like self, you know, I don't know what the word. I'm having
Governing?
a hard time. Yes.
Self-governing
out there. So I have like a sinus infection right now, and my brain is very cloudy.
Didn't hear it. Wow. Hey guys, that's an advertisement for the Rodecaster Pro 2 here.
Didn't hear what?
PJ.
Oh, it was very loud.
You should just buy this machine if you're a podcaster. The
That's pretty impressive.
Pro 2.
Well, I'm not wearing poop slippers. I just have regular slippers. So,
all right.
But I am wearing them.
Okay, so we are going to hop into this.
Okay.
And if it feels like I'm kind of rushing us ahead, it's like it probably is going to take us almost all of the allotted time that we have to do an episode of Church Nerds.
We are slow.
Yeah. But we do want to, we're going to be talking again, like I was starting to say about the relationships and the stuff that we do. We're going to be talking about the rings of power.
Woo.
So, my apologies if you have not seen the rings of power. We might, we're going to try not to, but we might get a little spoily. I don't know.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to make any promises one way or the other. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the relationships that are in that show, because for my money, I think that was the thing that carried the whole show, was the relational dynamic. And so we'll see where that goes. We have quite a bit of content for a full episode here. So like I said, we have a 10-minute opener. We have 2 20-minute sections and a 10-minute closer. And we are going to try really hard to stick to that, because we've got other things to do. And I need to be able to test the next thing that's coming up, which is Luke. And so we got to get in and get out of this thing. Thank you so much, Asia, for changing that, because when I reinstalled OBS, I have no info to change. And so that was super cool. Really appreciated that. Hey, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this thing that we're doing here for Giving Tuesday. Again, if it is weird for you that we're doing Giving Tuesday right now, it's because we're trying to get ahead of the curve. And those of you that have been here all day, you're probably sick of hearing that. But for the new people, legit, we think it's the stupidest thing in the world that giving to nonprofits is the last thing they ask you to do in the busiest giving season. And so, you know, it was like Matt said during Welcome To, who's going to stop me? And so we're doing it a week before, and it's going to run all week. We're currently looks like we're just under 10%. We're about 7% of our current goal, which is $10,000. Sounds like a lot of money, because it is a lot of money, but that is kind of natural seed money for moving forward in big movements and things like that. So we invite you to come on this journey with us, be a part of it. Give during this time. And then if you feel led, you can go to lovethynerd.com/partner and set up a recurring gift. Those things really help to keep the needle moving forward and keep us, you know, able to do ministry year round. So sit back, enjoy, listen, engage. this is a live podcast, and so we are going to maybe engage with the chat if we think that it's something. And I know you have the chat pulled up
on my phone.
Yeah.
I do. My phone might die, so
Oh, cool.
yeah.
If only you had a computer that you could pull the chat up on.
Oh, but what? It's gonna make noise. Should I do it right now before we start recording?
Go ahead and do that, and then you can mute it.
Well, I think I have it muted.
Zando, what's up? Trombone, raid. Oh, what happened? Oh, Zando, hey, with that raid of 5. Appreciate it, man.
Hello.
Good looking out. Thank you.
Welcome. Hold on. I'm trying. Oh, nope. See?
And mute.
I got it. I did it.
Yeah. You're not even on our, you're on Twitch homepage.
Yeah.
PJ is
trying to break in.
Right
He's
now.
breaking in. Oh my gosh. It's just more. It's more noise. I muted.
Yeah. Mute site. Right click on the tab.
This?
Yeah. And mute. Nope, that's not a tab.
This?
Tab and mute site.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Look at that.
I'm going to let him in, and then we're going to get started.
You gonna let him in, or you're going to put him out there with his brothers and sisters? Oh, my goodness. He's going to try to find me. Yeah. Thanks, Kate. Thank you for seeing me and feeling me. I'm really bad at most kinds of technology. It's not like, I can muddle through it. I don't have to call anybody's like son or nephew or something to come and fix my tech, although I let Bubba do it a lot. But I'm just kind of like, why struggle through it if I don't have to? Hello. What? I hold you. No. Look. Do you see? There's PJ. Say hi, everybody. You say hi? Hi.
Oh, Peach, never change, bud. Never change.
We weren't having it out there, huh?
He wants an apple.
You had an apple?
I know. We're talking these big, like, Macintosh apples.
No, Honey Crisp.
Honey Crisp.
I'm sorry. The expensive ones.
Yeah. So it's probably better that he's eating it because it's super mushy, which means he's dropped it quite a bit.
It has been dropped several times. Yeah. I'm gonna have to.
I don't want to
have to go get some more.
I don't like that at all.
Some more of those apples. The week of Thanksgiving, you guys. This is the worst time to have to go to the store. Ugh, just awful.
Yeah. Well, so the problem though is that they're the best apples, but it's basically applesauce on the inside of that apple skin, and so.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do cars, but it has to be very, very quiet. Okay.
Hey Peach, let's go out here, bud.
Here, he can go play cars out there.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
Okay.
Come here, bud.
Go with Daddy. Oh.
Okay.
He's really cute. Wasabi Jane. These chairs are from Amazon. Caleb says hi to PJ. So.
Oh, hey, C, what's going on, man?
All right, we're gonna do this thing. Oh, what PJ has to say about the state of the church. He says more goldfish, please, at church. That is what he would like. More goldfish, less sharing.
Yeah.
It's currently our thing.
That's his platform right now. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pull up. I gotta get this done.
I might still be able to find you a link, but they can stack. The chairs can stack. So we got these so that we'd have extra chairs for when we host and stuff. And they're decently comfortable.
Yeah.
And pretty sturdy and wipeable, which is a huge box that needs to be checked for our house. It's like, I got to be able to clean that thing. So, DJ Raintree, this room in our house is awesome.
'Tis a garage.
This shot of the room in our house is awesome. If you could see what it looked like outside of this shot, you might not say that, but it looks real good.
Hey, you know what?
This little...
In full disclosure, I'm just going to show you.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, it's terrible.
Look at this. because we're on my cellular here. This is gonna be Anna's area over here.
It's kind of a mess because I'm in the middle of projects.
That's where she sews. We got a laundry basket over there. This laundry. And then this is the part that she doesn't want anybody to see.
And it's not in my space. This is all Bubba's space. Ah!
It's just
stacks of board games and all kinds of stuff. I hate it.
It's my PC that nobody ever gets to see. My rat's nest of cable management. Oh my gosh.
So this is the kind of thing that it just makes me want to die on the inside.
Yeah, enjoy your behind the scenes, everybody.
And it's like I don't understand how it doesn't bother Bubba, and have just had to come to terms with the fact that it doesn't bother him, and just let his half of the garage be his half and not like nag about it. But it takes all of my willpower. What?
Hear me out.
What?
There's so many other things I have to care about. So many other things I have to care about.
Haven't you ever read any of those things that are like, you can be more productive if your space is clean?
Prove it.
I think people have proven that.
Oh, well then.
I can't believe that is not in any of your like
it's probably
leadership books or something. Like, get up early, make your bed every day, keep your space tidy.
It absolutely is.
But my mom, I might have already said this. She had my mom was probably ADHD. I'm guessing that she probably was.
Yeah, probably.
And things were not diagnosed like that back, when she was in school. So she would be very overwhelmed by mess and stuff.
Sure.
And she was also like her dad that way. Like, both of them are kind of like that. And so but she's like very creative, always making. She was a maker.
Oh yeah.
And she had in her studio this little plaque that was inherited, from her dad. It said, "Creative clutter is better than idle neatness." So.
Okay.
Yeah. Creative clutter is better than idle neatness. So don't just spend all your time cleaning things up. Actually get out there and do something.
That down. That one's easy. I can do that. Yeah, I don't spend hardly any of my time. We have the age-old married people conversation about Anna wants me to make the bed when I get out of it. And I'm like, I'm just going to get back in it later and unmake it. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I like... never mind. Okay. Let's do this thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I can't see the chat if I do this. I have to take this out like this.
You're doing great.
Fixing it. Okay.
Doing great.
We're good.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, we're going to give this thing a try here. All right. Hey there. My name's Bubba.
My name's Anna.
And you're tuned into Church Nerds, an LTN radio morning show and a proud member of the Love Thy Nerd podcast network. And we're doing this thing live. We do it live.
Big deal alert.
Kind of is a big deal.
It's unprecedented.
That's more, yeah.
Haha.
Yeah.
That's a word.
Not a huge deal. It's just unprecedented. Those things are different.
Yeah.
We are live on twitch.tv/Love Thy Nerd for our Giving Tuesday stream. And for those of you that are watching us live, hey, thanks for being here. And also, we're doing it early.
We are doing it early. So usually you have Thanksgiving on Thursday. Then Friday is Black Friday. And then you have Cyber Monday.
You skipped one.
What? What did I skip?
What is it called? Shop Local Saturday?
Oh,
Sunday?
They're adding more days. And then, Cyber Monday, then Giving Tuesday. After you have spent all of your money on yourself and your people that you're getting all your gifties for, then you can do your charitable giving. Which,
if you have any money left.
If there's any money left over.
And being a charity that has done Giving Tuesday before, thank you to those of you who have given to us before. We've been the recipients of the leftovers and the rattling change and stuff like that. And again, thank you for that. But if the whole point of it is to give people opportunities to give,
Uh-huh.
why not give them the best opportunity to give? Because we're already asking for money. Let's be real.
Well, I mean, truthfully, biblically speaking,
here we go.
I just feel like
Started.
it offers a chance for more sacrificial giving
Ooh.
than the leftovers afterward.
Fair enough.
I just feel like it actually
First fruits.
Which I'm not saying you need to give to LTN with your first fruits, but I don't think that we need to worry about our charitable giving or our giving to the Lord or anything like that after all of the other spending. Like that doesn't, as a Christian, make sense to me.
I like it. And I'm just gonna say Cain and Abel.
I was also, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know,
that was in my mind.
It's a really interesting story when you think about it,
Right.
because it's not that they both didn't offer something, because they absolutely both did offer something, but it was the way and the what in which they offered the things.
Mm-hmm.
God even gave Cain an opportunity to go change it, and he's like, "You're not my dad."
Which, it's everybody's money, and everybody can decide what they want to do. And I'm not trying to Christian guilt anybody, but that's why this format makes sense to me, actually, to do it before all of the other.
And so we're trying it. I mean, it's everything that we do is an experiment in some way, shape, or form. And so that's what this is. Am I Kate? maybe, Kate. But hey, we want to let you guys know who we are, just in case this is your first time, or if you're listening on a syndicated platform and you hopped into this episode or somebody shared it or whatever. We're Love Thy Nerd. We are a ministry that exists to love and serve our nerdy neighbors. We are a qualifying 501c3 nonprofit organization. And if that stuff means anything to you, cool. If it doesn't, we are a parachurch organization that exists to be the love of Jesus to nerds and nerd culture. We do that 1,000 different ways. One of the ways is by hanging out on the internet, building relationships, telling you Jesus loves you, and then taking the time to prove that statement to be true by the way that we treat you and interact with you. I'm Bubba. I'm the CEO and one of the founders here at Love Thy Nerd. I've been a nerd culture missionary minister for the better part of a decade now. And I am now in charge of LTN and helping it go to the places it needs to be with the help of my team and so many other people that volunteer with us. And this is my wife, Anna.
Hey, everybody. I'm less nerdy. I'm not completely unnerdy.
Yes.
But less nerdy. Pertinent to this episode is, one of my most major nerdy things about me is like that I had just a huge, like Legolas the elf was my first
elf crush on that dude.
Major heartthrob. Loved me some Legolas.
I am still trying to compete with that guy, and he's not even real.
I don't know how anybody can. Not even Orlando Bloom can compete with Legolas the elf. Like Orlando Bloom as any other character, not doing it for me.
Not so much, yeah.
No.
Nerdo Divergent. I actually kind of really like that. I like that a lot. Same.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but that's who we are.
That's who we are.
And we have this podcast together, and you can go check it out at lovethynerd.com/churchnerds. And you can listen to all the episodes and then subscribe on your platform of choice.
If you want to. We don't want to pressure you, but we would love it. Well, I thought one thing that we could talk about just in this first little bit here is, and this is not really something that happened recently, but it's something that I wrote down because I just thought it was funny. Were you like a really imaginative player?
No.
Like just world building and, living in a fantasy land? And
nope.
Our children who are not necessarily super that way. Like
one of them is.
I did grow up that way a little bit, but I will say that I feel like I am not actually creative at world building, like even a little bit. Mm-hmm. I was along for the ride. I would follow in my older sister and brother's footsteps and do whatever they were doing. My brother is like world building dialed up to 11.
Oh,
like big time.
Yeah.
Can just kind of almost live there.
Whatever you think the top of the dial was, more than that.
Yeah. I had like zero imagination is what it felt like. And here's an example of that. is my character in this like imaginary world that we had as children that we would go outside and play, and we called it Dreamland. Well, I don't know who made that up. Yeah,
I love it.
I think I was supposed to be a fairy.
Okay.
Maybe. And I had little like Pegasus flying horses. And their names were...
Oh, I cannot wait for this.
I've told you this
before. Do I know this already?
I might have even talked about it on this podcast. Very creative here. I had a black one.
Blackie.
And a silver one.
Silvery.
Or a gold one and a silver one. So it was Blackie, Goldie, and Silvery.
Nice.
Those
okay,
were
perfect.
names.
I love it.
Really?
Kind of writes itself after a while, you know?
Just cringy and bad. But anyway, so I would not say I'm particularly like creative and groundbreaking in the imagination department. But I was listening to the kids playing a while back, and it was funny because I was like, I feel like I didn't play like this. This is what I wrote down about it.
Okay.
I think you were gone for this. So they were playing supervillains. They were all not superheroes. They were supervillains. Naomi wants to be the team leader. It's her right. At 399, she's the oldest team member.
Wee.
Caleb also wants to lead the team, and they don't seem to be able to work it out. What is even the point of this game? We aren't ever going to start stealing stuff. All we ever do is fight about who we all want to be. And that they were currently working on a plot to steal the Diamond of Doom.
Yeah.
And the Pocket Watch of Knowledge.
Oh man, that Pocket Watch of Knowledge though. Like
I was just like, it was funny.
Well, I mean, she's almost 400.
Yeah.
So you got to go with the seniority on that one. Our kids are like hyper creative. You didn't even talk about Levi, and I would think he's the most creative player of all of them.
Sure.
Maybe by himself.
I mean, he does. He's one of those like always has action figures with him, and they're always like deep in combat and all the sound effects and everything. I feel like in my house there was a lot of like gun noises.
Okay.
It's all superheroes all the time.
All superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He grew up in
dinosaurs.
Likes
He's been big into dinosaurs.
A lot of fantastical things.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
He's not playing cowboys and
cops and rubbers. None of that
stuff.
No.
He is, and he's a space cadet as far as like things go.
And names. He probably doesn't even name his superheroes because he can't remember real people's names.
We're sitting around.
He doesn't even remember all of our family members' names.
And I'm like, hey, who's that person you've been hanging around with 3 hours?
I don't know.
Girl. It's like
that girl.
Yeah. It's
like, what is that girl's name?
It's like Bird Box. We were watching Bird Box.
Yeah.
Whenever that came out, and it was like, boy, girl. I'm like, God of War. Didn't take the time to learn any of that stuff, but I don't know. Hey, but we're going to be talking about Rings of Power, and today you can look around and see all of the stuff that Tolkien has built with his world building and books and games and all sorts of stuff.
I'm just not at that level. I'm just not.
So,
sorry.
Hopefully that's just a little bit of a primer as to what you can expect from what we're talking about today. But we're going to focus here in just a minute on the relationships that have been built in the Rings of Power specifically. And some people might argue that that's not really Tolkien world building or relationship building or anything like that, because it's Amazon. But hey, we're going to talk about some of that stuff here in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to be talking all about relationship building inside of the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power from Amazon Prime. Not a sponsor, but hit me up if you want to be, right here on the Church Nerds podcast. And then we're not really going anywhere, but I have to stop the recording here on the machine and then go again. Hey, you guys are doing fantastic here.
Hey, yeah.
I love that. Tolkien is top of the world building dial.
Another time, it would be cool to talk about how world building and storytelling allows you to communicate things in ways that are more direct. Hold on.
That more direct communication struggles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get that Bezos money for Giving Tuesday. Come on, Jeff. Jeff, can I call you Jeff?
I think it's Jeff.
Mr. Bezos.
Yeah, Mr.
Sir?
Bezos. I mean, like honestly, we're trying to give opportunities for stuff. And if it doesn't, like we've already said this, and I'll keep saying this all day long because I think it bears repeating. If we don't hit our goal, that's actually okay.
Sure.
Because any money that we have that comes in actually helps us to move forward and do more ministry, be at more places. We got a lot of stuff in the works for 2023. And it's just great. I mean, like anything that you guys do is going to help that. Hey, St. Bear with that Prime subby. Thank you so much. And Bezos bucks. But like legitimately speaking, I'm more interested in people and organizations like, companies and stuff like that like have to give money away, right? Like they legally have to give X number of dollars away, a percentage of their revenue away.
Do they have to, or they just get like fined on their taxes?
Some of them it's both end. Some of them it's both end. And so congratulations on your 1 month streak there.
I found out that I'm currently not a subscriber.
That's embarrassing. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to sit in nickel and dime those of you that are already giving sacrificially, that you're already, doing what you can. I don't want you to feel any of that guilt that Anna was talking about. I just want you guys to be able to be here to hang out, to reap the benefits of the ministry that we're trying to do, and to help us push it forward by coming on a trip with us or, loving and serving the nerds in your space well. So we'll have more opportunities for you guys to do that. But some of the things that you're giving towards are helping, these shows and these podcasts go further and longer. Helping us, like I said, get to different tabletop and board game shows next year. We're going to be at Gen Con. We're going to be at Origins. We're going to be at Strong Tower Con. We're going to be at PAX Unplugged. We've got the LTN. I'm sorry, not the LTN. The Nerd Culture Summit. I'm still learning all the names that we're having for things. We're going to have the Nerd Culture Summit at the end of the year, in November of 2023, where we get a bunch of people. We're going to market it to Texas, and we're going to have them come and just learn, ministry leaders and all sorts of stuff, how to better love and serve the nerds in their area and in their neighborhood. So, the NCMS, Nerd Culture Ministry Summit. So, yeah, Bear's a part of helping us put that together. He and Frost are really spearheading that, and it's going to be dope. But we can't do it if we don't have the money. And so that's really what it's all about. Ministry costs money, and I'm just so sorry for that.
Kate says she has PTSD, giving guilt PTSD from a youth group experience, and I'm interested to hear about that on Free Play.
Kate, for $29.99 a month, I can get rid of that guilt for you. No problem.
Okay.
No, hey, just kidding. But seriously, if you guys have some year-end giving or some leftover cash, surplus, expendable money, please think about LTN at the end of the year. We will use that money well. I promise you that. We're trying to do a lot of stuff. One of the large things is that we're trying to renovate a new space at Sojourn New Albany, because they've offered us that space. We just have to make it usable. And so it's going to be great. And we're going to do it either way, but we would really love your help to get there. Okay. Hey, you ready to get back into it?
Sure.
Okay. I got to make sure I have all the right stuff.
Agent Nomac, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yep.
Your end giving? Is that what you thought I said? What do you think I said?
Urine giving.
Urine giving. I would imagine in some places that's a currency.
Maybe.
But why would it be, though? Because it doesn't matter. I don't want to.
Oh, no, I can think of some reasons. Yep.
Ugh, I don't want to think about that anymore. Yeah, I'm going to throw up a trademark all over that. All right. Here you go. Hey, good luck cutting all this, by the way, Joker. Hey there, and welcome back to Church Nerds. Once again, I'm Bubba.
I'm Anna.
And today we are talking about relationships.
Relationships.
In the Lord of the Rings.
Rings of Power. Why did we say that together at the same time? I didn't like that.
We're in love. You see how
if you're
watching this live, she didn't even reach out? Left me hanging? No, I'm. Okay.
Turkey.
We did it. That's great
Okay.
podcast material, by the way.
Anyway, no, okay. So we watched Rings of Power. It took me a long time because if you're new to this show, this is the thing about Bubba and about me. We watch television at vastly different rates. Me, almost none at all, unless
zero.
it's the Great British Baking Show.
And then you're lightning.
I'm not even. I was like not current. I actually haven't even finished the finale, which is shameful. I just have other things to be doing. Bubba will like binge an entire season of something in a night. And I'm always like, let's watch this together. And then he's like, I'm already on the 8th episode. Yeah. And I'm like, ugh.
We can rewatch it together.
Yeah. Well, so one such thing was Rings of Power. We were trying to watch it together. We got out of sync. And I think you finished it on one of your trips that you were on in October.
Yes, LTN Con.
Yeah, because you had delayed for a really long time in watching it so that I could get on board with you. And then I actually also finished it while you were on that trip. I think when you're not here, I don't know why I watch more things. I think because I'm bored at night without you. Right. And so like while I'm folding laundry or whatever, I pour all the laundry onto our bed so that I can't get in bed until I've actually folded the laundry. I hate folding laundry. It's like my most despised
Here's the thing, though. Like, chore. That doesn't normally stop you.
Sometimes I just crawl in under the laundry. I was going to say,
burrowing in under the laundry.
It's more cozy. It's like a weighted blanket.
Scooping it off the bed just into a basket.
Does happen sometimes. I have good intentions.
You're like, I did this when you were gone so that I did fold. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. I'm glad you were motivated, though.
Anyway, I finished it. And then I was like, okay, so we can talk about it now. So we're kind of late. And so if this is spoilery, I mean, sorry, but it has been over like for a little while. So
yeah, it's Anna and I talk about this pretty frequently because she's like, oh, this is going to be a spoiler. And I'm like, the spoiler ban is in the community.
Sure. Yeah.
Not on this podcast.
Okay. So.
But we're not going to like spoil
things, because there are several angles that we could take when we're talking about watching Rings of Power or talking about Rings of Power. Obviously, one of the things that we have to talk about is how steeped in controversy this series has been, and we're not gonna like dive all the way into it because it's just like bleh, like a cesspool of grossness.
Shocker, something
very
subjective.
Very toxic, because this was one of those shows that got, I would consider it to be like review bombed a little bit, because when you go and look at the reviews, it's like a bunch of 5-star reviews and a bunch of 1-star reviews and not that many in between, which is like, okay, so I guess we're not actually evaluating it on its merit or content or anything. We're just like throwing opinions, like loved it, hate it. It's just like thumbs up or thumbs down, 5 stars, 1 star.
Which neither are helpful.
Not really. Not really.
No.
And the 1-star reviews a lot came from fans of Tolkien's works up to this point.
Yeah.
Some of them fans of the Peter Jackson interpretations of the Lord of the Rings, which are what I grew up on. Kind of. I mean, my family read the books, and then like we would go and watch the movies at the theater. That was like really fun while they were coming out. Maybe might have cosplayed just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
And so like I will confess that I had like some reservations because it's Amazon that's producing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, are they gonna botch this? Can it possibly be as beautiful as what, Steven Jackson put together?
Steven Jackson is a friend of ours.
Steven Jackson.
You're thinking of Percy
I told you
Jackson.
The brain fog. Percy Jackson. Peter Jackson put together, because obviously my family watched all of the appendices and all of that stuff. So to address those concerns, yes, it is still beautiful. The budget was like astronomical, out of this world.
Oh yeah.
I wish there I hope someday there are some like documentaries or whatever about the making of these things, you know, like the garments, the metal pieces, the sets and the minis and all of those different things. So like production level,
and well, I
really
mean,
good. It was really good.
Even then, it got slammed for that.
I know, which is why I'm like, I don't feel like you're actually. Did you watch it? You know, did you watch it, or you're just
a lot of the things that I heard in that vein were like people would say, well, for that much money, I expected it to be better. And I'm like, this is what I showed you guys my garage. If you watched live, like, I don't think I have any room to be talking about Amazon could have done better.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get my stream not to crash. And so,
yeah. Then some of the other stuff that people had to say, it was like, well, is he going to ruin the story because they only have the rights to these certain amounts of stuff, which is not complete, but they're trying to tell, you know, a story that has to deal with all of this stuff that they don't have the rights to, and are they just going to botch this? And there was potential that could happen.
Oh, absolutely. There's always that.
There's always that potential. But I think sometimes we forget that the people making this stuff are also big fans a lot of times.
Most of the time.
And so, you know, sometimes it works out that they are being careful.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. And then there was this even more toxic element that had to do a lot with the fact that there was a lot of screenwriting that put women in positions of power in some world building that was primarily dominated by like male leadership, and casting people of color in, you know, a story that was written in a very like Eurocentric frame of mind. And it's like, well, that's not consistent. And like,
never you mind.
Okay.
It's all made up anyway.
It's all fantasy.
I don't know what you want from me right now. I don't do it with my hands. You know, like.
Yeah. I just like, here's my deal is I can't control what anybody thinks, and I can't really speak into like, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of a call to accountability, at least for believers, because Tolkien has a very large following base in like the Christian and religious circles.
Yeah.
And sadly, those are a bunch of the people who were just slamming it.
Yep.
And it's like, here's the deal. Jesus elevated women and Jesus elevated minorities. So it's like, why in this fantasy world are we still trying to squash people down and tell them that they don't belong?
Exactly.
I'm not here for that.
This is not an issue where I don't believe this is an issue where we're like rewriting history, because again, should have muted that.
Ha! That was you and not me.
You can't prove anything.
Ha ha ha!
I don't think it's one of those deals where like we're rewriting history, because it's not.
It's fantasy.
It's fake.
I mean, there are some interesting moments where. I mean, I don't know that we're going to really talk about this. I think things like the orcs are like very much dehumanized in, you know, Tolkien's work. And then in this, you've got Adar, who has this weird kind of like father relationship and shows compassion, to basically his orc family. And that's a weird dynamic to throw in there when you have like grown up your whole life being like, orcs are terrible and basic and not, you know.
And to be fair, like as they were written, you go back and, you know, read about it in the Silmarillion and all that stuff. And that's how it was written. But these, like a lot of what is being built, like the world building that's happening, you know, some of it that's happening here in Rings of Power is not just lands and spaces. It's people and feelings and bringing, legitimately speaking, you know, more modern understandings of people and their spaces and places into this beloved spot.
Right.
And so
And I can understand to an extent where people are like feeling like, well, this work is basically being hijacked by people with a different agenda.
Right.
Because I kind of feel that way about Anne with an E. I've talked about this before where I'm like, I feel like you've taken a character that is definitely a certain way and turned this character into something completely different, and it drives me crazy. And it's not that is not a story worth telling, but that is a completely different character.
Sure.
Make your own character. Okay, talked about that. So if that is what people are feeling, like I can identify with that to a certain extent, but it's also like maybe we need to check that a little bit and be like, why does this bother me on such a deep level? And is that actually like, is it justifiable or godly or any of those things? I feel like a lot of times it's not. So that's kind of my very long sort of, hey, we realize that all of that is out there. That is actually not what we primarily want to talk about today.
Not yet, anyway. But it is important to get it out there. Like that is the basis for all of these things. Is first and foremost, we get it. Like it's not one of those things where somebody's like, no, you just don't understand. No, like we get it. We Anna and I, if nobody else on the planet, we understand what it is that you're trying to say. What we're trying to help you understand is that there needs to be space for more relationship, and I would say for representation, and for people to see themselves in the rings of power. And if it's just a bunch of pretty white dudes, it just ain't gonna hit.
Wait, are you talking about?
I'm talking about Legolas.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
you know that I'm talking about Legolas.
He is pretty,
but I mean, like when we're going to get into some things, and you guys know some of the stuff that we're talking about, and even if it's like, oh, well, a dwarf woman would have been a full beard and all, it's like, okay, but there are creative liberties that are being taken, and all of this stuff. If you get hung up on the what I would consider minor details of what you think might be X, Y, and Z, you're going to lose the bigger picture of the stuff that's actually happening, which is some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about here in just a little bit, with the different characters and how they interact together. You talked earlier a little bit about Adar. That kind of that kind of story building, that kind of like relational, like character progression, I would say, more than relational. That stuff, I think the first time you and I saw that was in Maleficent, where it was like, and we even had to go like,
I don't know if I like this. Yeah.
Don't you dare humanize Maleficent,
a supervillain,
because she is the living worst.
Still true. I'm not a Maleficent fan, but yeah.
And so, but at the end of the day, it's we say this all the time at LTN, is that like people are some of the moments that have led up to that moment right then. Things don't happen in a vacuum.
Sure. And that said, sometimes people still do horrific things.
Sure. Yeah.
And those things aren't justified just because, we can understand how it happened. Like, just because we can understand how it happened doesn't make it okay. So, but
it might be worth knowing. And so in something as silly and ridiculous as the Rings of Power, for us to go back and like, this show is going to, over the next 4 seasons, of which there are 5 that have been pitched, this show is going to open up Sauron's story. Like that was the pitch, right? And so the way that it starts to do that early on is with Adar, and with a couple of other characters, and we're starting to see some of how that stuff moves forward. And I think that even with the people, and maybe this is something that we can pull out of it, even with the people that we don't want to understand, even with the people that that we just want to vilify 100%, right? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We don't want there to be any portion of their story that we can identify with. Mm-hmm. We don't want there to be any portion of their story that we can feel genuine pain and sorrow for. We just want to be able to look down and squash those people, and maybe have a common enemy. I don't know, like what the thing is.
It's tough because sometimes it's like, well, or if for me to try to understand this person who has done this horrible thing, is that diminishing the victims and their trauma. It's tough. It's hard. It is a hard tension to have things in. So, okay. Wow, that was a lot. We're like, we haven't even gotten into these. Okay, so let's just dive into some of our favorite like little relationships that go on. I love Nori and Poppy. The Harfoots. Yep. It was like jarring to see the Harfoots on screen the first time because it's like, I mean, this is like hobbitish, but it's like nomad hobbits. But all their sweet little flower crowns and their cool like straw hairdos and stuff like that. Super fun.
I don't know. Like I'm going through the Silmarillion right now. And I say that like I'm actively doing it. I had been doing it. I plan to get back to it.
Okay.
Can somebody let me know if the Silmarillion talks about Harfoots or if those are just completely made up predecessors to
I don't know. I didn't like nerd out about origins of anything, but I felt like Nori and Poppy were almost recycled Sam and Frodo.
Yeah.
Like not quite, because Poppy doesn't end up like actually going off on her adventure with her at the end of, this season, but it had very much that feel to it. You have like the curious, adventurous one, and then you have the one who's maybe a little bit more cautious, but has a lot of loyalty and is devoted and is warm-hearted. Poppy just like staying with her family and making sure that they can carry their load.
Oh yeah.
It was just very heartwarming. And I don't know that she had a family, Poppy, or if she was kind of an orphan. And
it never really kind of gets to that point.
Not really, but I'm assuming that she kind of didn't have anybody.
Had to come from somewhere, right?
She had to come from somewhere. They are canon from Tolkien, says Silver.
So somebody said that they are, Wasabi Jane says that they're from Concerning Hobbits, the prologue to Fellowship.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So that was one relationship that I really, really liked. You brought up Galadriel and her brother in like kind of the very beginning, like first episode, I think that one is.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
I was reading chat. Say it one more time.
Galadriel and her brother.
Oh, Galadriel and her brother. I think that is the relationship that kind of launches the main story arc that we see at least in season 1. I'll say that because we don't know where it's going to go in 2 and beyond. But she is really trying to gain restitution for her brother, and
I feel like this whole season, she's like grieving her brother still.
Oh, absolutely, in the most brutal way possible.
In the most destructive,
like she is just
awful
after it
way. Yeah,
and I mean like that. It basically what happens is that Sauron is the one that kills her brother. And so I don't know exactly how all that goes down. We haven't really gotten to all that yet. I haven't gotten to that in the precursor story.
It was Sauron or it was Morgoth?
I think it was Sauron, because it was the one that bore the mark, and that was the mark of Sauron. So
werewolf. He was killed by a werewolf.
Oh, well, there you go.
Thanks guys.
What a bunch of nerds in the chat.
I'm just glad because it's been a little bit of a minute since I watched it, and I need to just like binge it to really retain everything, and I wasn't able to do that.
Well, here's the thing. We can either remember all the information or all the names. Which one do you want?
I'm having a hard time remembering names right now. Like I forgot Elrond's name because that is actually the amount of fog that is in my brain.
We were
right
getting
now.
ready, and Anna was like, "What's his name?
Thank
What's his
you,
name?"
Thank you, sinus infection.
Elrond.
You are just really a treasure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that grief of Galadriel's loss is something that ends up being weaponized against her.
100%.
In the story, and so that's kind of an interesting dynamic. We can probably you wanna call it here, or you wanna do one more?
I think we can do one more.
Okay, so the next one that we were going to talk about
Oh,
was...
not this one, though. No, we're going to call
We're
it
not
here.
going to talk...
No, that's a big one. Sorry, I didn't look at the list. Hey, seriously, thank you guys for people being in the chat. We're going to take a short break. Keep us on point. Again, I said we can either learn all the names or have all the information, and we actually chose neither. So we're going to need your help. It's a mishmash of both of those things that we have.
This is a group effort.
More of this right here on the Church Nerds podcast.
I do have to go get some water.
Do you?
Yeah. Okay. Would you like some water?
I would love some water. Okay. Hey, like the name, why couldn't Tolkien just use like Ted, Mitch, Stacy? Why couldn't he have used those names? That would have been great. Would have been great. Yeah. I've told people, Reedy, I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1 billion times more. I can only be this deep on the fandoms because I have to know enough about so many things to have these conversations with people. Yeah, Ted the Elf. Yeah, I would do. Yeah, Craig, Phil. I mean, all those things, man. Like, because he's a linguist. I mean, but like, did he need to be? I don't think so. Steve the Dwarf. Yeah, Steve looks like he's like a real dude name, you know? Craig the Wizard. I mean, but like as I'm going through all of this stuff, there are completely new words for everything. Thank you. Completely new words for everything. Different words for wizards, different words for sub-wizards, different words for the angel characters, for the god character, for like all this stuff. He just like all that stuff. Craig's a blue wizard for sure. For sure. Unreal names, yeah, reinforce the fantasy aspect. Yes, he also linguist. I'm a simpleton, though. I think that's kind of what the deal is that like here's the deal. Sometimes I forget my kids' names, okay? Like I'm trying to talk to them, and I'm like, Levi, Caleb, PJ, what's your name? What's your name? And they know I'm talking to him because I'm looking right at him. But Fred the Gray, that's also a good one.
Sorry, I kept feeling my
Jack of all trades maximizer. Absolutely, that's me. That's me. Brutalitops. I could get behind that one. I like that one. I'm more the like Taserface. That's more my speed. Remember Taserface from Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
And my name is Taserface. And then they all just laughed at him because that was just the stupidest name. But I'm like, I have not forgotten Taserface. Bodie McBoatface. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Al, would I disappear in Asia's studio because I'm wearing like all coral? I don't know why.
Hey, you know what, Sean? You're not wrong. Yeah, that's why Levi doesn't remember anybody's names. It's hereditary.
Okay, so did you want to put these in a different order than what I had them?
I think that the next one you're about to, it needs to go last.
That needs to go last? I thought you would want to talk about this one that you loved last.
He needs to go second to last.
Second to last?
Second to last.
Okay. Here we go. Sorry. Reorganizing. This is the really fascinating part of podcastery.
You're welcome.
Is that a word? Podcastery.
Podcastery?
Yeah. Podcasting. The art of podcasts. The art of the podcast.
I am just now realizing that I don't know when I'm supposed to end here. And so, hold please. I had everything pulled up.
Oh yeah, I'm very pink today. Pink. Lots of pink. Somebody gave me this sweatshirt. It is it's Adidas, and not a sponsor, but Adidas, if you're listening, can you please send me some more sweatshirts if you wanted to sponsor this podcast? That would be great.
All right.
So bonjour. what is happening in this moment of the podcast is we're on break right now
What a great question.
and talking about nothing because Bubba changed the order of how I had set things up to talk. And then he is
No, that's not what I said.
also doing he's not sure when we're supposed to end or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I had to reset my whole computer and I had it up there as an image.
Oh,
no, I don't have that image. So
got it. Yeah, all of our little, like back end of things when down to the minute everything is supposed to start and stop.
Oh, okay. We got
that's my book title, The Art of the Podcast, although I could write almost nothing. The only thing that I do is like show up and talk. Well, that's not true. Usually I line out what we're going to talk about quite a lot, but mostly I just talk. I don't have anything to do with mics or uploading things or cutting things or
none of that.
none.
Me neither.
No,
Get outta
yes, you do.
Okay,
yes, you do.
All right. Hey, so we're going to get back into this and talk more about the relationships that are going on inside of
Rings of Power.
Here we go. Hey there, and welcome back to the free play. Nope, that's not what I'm doing. Sorry. Jeez, man.
You're doing great. It's fine.
This is actually Church Nerds.
Church Nerds podcast.
Yeah, welcome back to Church Nerds. Not free play. It's a bad idea for me to have chat up.
Maybe you guys are derailing him.
Yeah. Well, hey, anyway, I'm Bubba, joined with my wife, Anna.
I'm Anna.
And we are talking all about Rings of Power today, and specifically the relationships in the Rings of Power and the relationship building aspect in the storytelling.
Yes, because as much as world building was cool and the special effects were cool and the costumes were cool, the storytelling and the relationships.
Whoa.
I don't know what's happening to my mouth right now.
Relationships.
Those were good. They were good. They were some of our favorite part about watching Rings of Power.
Mm-hmm. So just to recap, we talked about Nori and Poppy.
Okay,
loved it. Very
heartwarming.
Little story about Frodo and Sam.
I don't know what you're talking
about. Jack and Diane, but Frodo and Sam. Oh, it was a secular song when you were a baby Christian.
Okay.
We also talked about Galadriel and her brother, and just kind of how that launched basically the main story arc for the show.
Yeah.
Not that things wouldn't have happened because of it, because there were so many other things that were going on, but that was kind of the thing. Well,
because she's on a 1,000 of years long vengeance mission.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And real quick, I thought it was really crazy that she went from being this peaceful elf that they had never known anything about death or whatever to like the author of death.
Right.
Like she's just very good at it.
Sure.
Well,
I was thinking about that too, where like we've watched, all of the Lord of the Rings and seen Elrond and Galadriel in their like wizened.
Yeah, they're Nana and Peepaw state.
I wasn't thinking Nana and Peepaw, but I was thinking more like parents.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like that watching Rings of Power has been like the moment when you actually realize that your parents are not superheroes and that they had to come by all of their wisdom the same way that you are having to come by all your wisdom, which is make a bunch of mistakes and like that you were watching that in real time or whatever. It's weird. So that was a legitimate thought that I had. Like, I've never thought of Elrond as this like young, borderline naive elf
having to learn things,
having to learn that,
I
he might be being used right now or whatever.
Elrond as like he's just the internet. He just has all of the knowledge from all of the things, whether you need it or not. But moving forward, there are so many more relationship combos, and we are not going to get to all of them. This is not an extensive list. This is just our list of the things that we thought might be cool. Things that we enjoyed, relationships that we liked.
Yeah.
And the next one on our list here is Nori and the Stranger. Remember when I told you that we're not going to do
the
super
reason I
spoilery
called him the
things?
Stranger is because that is how he's listed in the cast. Like if you go look it up in the cast, that's his name in the cast list.
This is the being that kaboom crashes
fell from the stars
into the earth, into Middle Earth.
And then it's like, oh, I know who he is. No, wait, no, maybe I don't know at all who he is. I was really scared for a moment.
I will say, and this was one of the things that I told Anna as we were watching through, and I was encouraging her to finish it. And I've told several people, and I'm telling the entire internet right now, all of them, everybody on the internet, the guessing, the way that they keep you on, like you think you know, and then you don't, and then you know,
see,
but then you might not, but then you make, like they keep doing that with you on who the stranger is. That's so good. It is so good.
So, yeah, I mean, you say it's so good. Some of the people with negative things to say have been like, oh, I totally saw that coming. That was so predictable.
Nah.
That's
Maybe
what they
I'm
said.
just a buffoon.
Like that they kept us on this wild goose chase for like, who is Sauron? Maybe it's this person. Maybe it's this person. Maybe it's this person.
Yeah.
But that it was so blatantly obvious from the very, very beginning. I'm just going to say, not obvious to me.
No.
I was like,
No.
oh, what? Yeah.
Hypothetically, if you did figure out who it was, hypothetically, spoiler alert, you do. But anyway, it's one of those deals where like Nori, she's there. She sees him fall and then basically just hightails it over there.
Yeah, I would be running away.
That's what Poppy was saying.
I'm Poppy.
Yeah.
I'm Poppy for sure.
You know, but like Harfoots, they don't do adventure.
Right.
And so that's like,
except for Frodo and Bilbo and Nori.
Yes, there's 3 of them, plus Sam, plus maybe Poppy. But she wanted to go and figure that out. And so like that, her longing to know, like really drew her to the stranger over and over and over
again. So she knows because of the way that he came, that there's something about him special.
Different.
And she feels like there's some amount of destiny involved, that she's meant to help him and things like that. And it becomes very obvious, like even more obvious, that he's a powerful being. But it's the interesting thing is how this incredibly powerful being is pretty much dependent on someone so weak. I mean, as far as Harfoots go, Harfoots are a sturdy people, and she's probably one of the sturdiest.
They're
because
resilient.
Yes. But still so small and like unassuming and just really humble, origins. The Harfoots are not like, men building great cities or elves with their gigantic tree houses or whatever.
They actually don't build jack or squat. They just roam.
Mm-hmm.
They are true nomads.
Yeah. And so, but he's kind of dependent on her. He's really dependent on anybody who will take the time to help him understand his environment. Mm-hmm. And that's what she does. Yeah. And once he gets oriented, like he's cool and he starts doing stuff.
Yeah.
But it takes a minute, and it takes some blunders.
Yeah.
And there are some scary moments in there and some like hard moments in there.
Big time.
And she even goes back and forth of like, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe this was all a mistake.
But one of the things about that I love so much was that even as much as like was going wrong around him, and it's really easy to be like, that's the problem, get him out of here. She never gave up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was all, she just kind of held to like, this person is important. This person's important to me. And this person is going to be important to everything moving forward.
Uh-huh.
And so when she had no idea of what he is or who he is or any stuff like that, she just knew that she needs to be there for him. I mean, all the way up to the very last moment that they're on screen together in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
She's putting her hope and faith and trust in him and standing right there by him.
All of her eggs in the stranger basket.
And I am just like, dang, like that. There's something to be learned there. Now maybe don't do that with everybody, right? Not like, oh, you're a stranger, I'm gonna, everything for you. But like, there's
Stranger danger.
something to be learned there about like really sticking with people.
Yeah.
So that's really, I can't wait to see where that goes. I mean, it has to go somewhere. Has to. We'll see. I don't wanna make anything.
Okay. So next is another weird one. A little bit. We've got Elrond and Celebrimbor. This one was interesting.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Elrond is Elrond. Agent Smith from the Matrix.
He looked way different, so that was
it was because he was different. And Celebrimbor is the guy from the video games.
Didn't play the video games,
Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. Anyway, like, but for real though, like, yeah, it's Red Skull.
Is he Red?
Elrond.
Oh, I was like, wait,
Red Skull.
No, because Celebrimbor he's from Downton Abbey. So
yeah, but like, so the lore for Celebrimbor is he's the one that forged the rings.
Okay.
And so all of the stuff that we have in the Shadow of games, which Caleb loves to play, and they're really fun stories. They're just not canon. Forging an extra ring of power and all that stuff. But it's one of those deals that he was there, and so we're getting to see. That's what this entire story is kind of built on, is the forging of the rings of power and how they're used and distributed, and then all that.
Well, I mean, so this was one of those moments where it was like, Elrond is not a person up until this point that, like, I wouldn't think that Elrond would be an easy person to dupe, or trick or anything like that. And it's like the motivation is a good motivation in trying to save our people or whatever, but he's used by
everybody,
the Elf King, and
literally
and
everybody.
And his relationship that we'll later talk about with Durin is exploited, like kind of unbeknownst to him. I think he starts to become wise to it, but like, he is exploited. And I don't think I've ever thought of Elrond as a person who would be like exploitable.
Well, he was young. What was he? Just a couple of thousand years old here? Just a wee chap?
Yeah.
Still wet behind the ears? Can't even walk yet?
There was a fair, like, I don't know if it was dishonesty necessarily or just secrecy.
I think probably what it was, and again, this is just conjecture, but I think that what it might have been was that he hadn't experienced that level of cloak and dagger, like that level of the politics and the governmental, space that the elves lived in. Because when we're talking about like this,
it's like watching House of Cards, and you're like, I don't want to think that politics is this dirty and gross, and it probably is. But apparently, even in the elfin like government,
that show is weird. But anyway, long story short, it's like the relationship there between Elrond and Celebrimbor rather. I always want to put an M before the B because again, that just is what a human would do. But that relationship, I don't even know what to do with that. To even call it a relationship, it's more of an acquaintance, more of a not even like apprentice. It's like they are colleagues, of sorts. Elrond doesn't even seem, at least to me, that he has any kind of reverence for Celebrimbor, or to any really extent. So that to me is kind of one of those are two important people in the story that are in the same space, but every time they're there, it's like Spock and anybody, right? Like, and honestly, that's the character of Spock kind of came out of, the elves of Lord of the Rings, and so like they share a lot of similarities, and so it's kind of this hollow space in relationship.
Wouldn't Spock be Elrond?
Maybe
both half human, right?
Oh.
Can
you do this? Can you do the? Okay.
Huh?
Just me? Cool. But anyway, I'm interested to see kind of how that goes. I'm sure that they're going to grow that character in that relationship, because I'm sure they're going to have to work more together later. But right now, I feel like that was just kind of like the seed of it.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm with a few people who are like, how are the rings just forged so quickly? Like, ta-da!
On a
There
3D
they
printer.
are. Yeah.
He's really good at what he
3D
does. Yeah.
I would have liked for there to be more time on that, but that's okay.
All right. Final two that we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
All right. Galadriel and Halbrand,
Uh-huh.
King of the Southlands.
King of the Southlands.
Man.
So this relationship was like all over
the
the
place.
map. I could not get a handle on it because for a while it's like it was kind of patronizing, like she was stooping down and, you know,
Yeah.
trying to help him out, and he didn't believe in himself, and she was trying to be supportive and remind him of his identity, or like
Sure.
she thought she was doing all these things. Then you get even further into it, it's like, oh no, maybe she's using him because she really needs him in order to continue
Yeah.
this like quest for vengeance
Yeah.
that she's on. So like,
He
is
was
she
a man.
patronizing him? Is she using him? Is she in love with him even at one point? Because it's like, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What is happening here? I
To
don't know
me-
what's happening here.
To me, that was what that story was. It felt like a tale as old as time.
It felt like
They
a
hate each
weird,
other.
dysfunctional, like codependent relationship is what
Yeah.
it felt like
Yeah.
to me, where I was like, ugh, I don't like it.
So
And-
much so that when it finally got to like the final, like the climax of that story arc,
Yes,
I was like,
should have seen it coming. I should have seen that coming.
I was thinking maybe. Like, to me, I'm like, that breaks everything if this happens, but maybe, because like she looks like she just
Oh yeah,
she just loved that boy. She just got those the deer in the headlight look, and like that's what that they and I think that like he was genuine in what he was asking her to come and be a part of what he was doing.
well, yes, but then it was like the whole thing was flip-flopped, because it was
Yeah.
like he wanted her to come with him because he was basically using her. Like he needed her in order to do what he was trying to do and fulfill his. So like, who's using who? That's where that weird
Yeah.
codependent thing is. And she just has to like come to this point where she's like, I see what you're doing.
Yes.
I'm out. I'm done. I am discontinuing this relationship, and she draws a firm boundary,
See, and
which
I
we're going to
think-
talk about here in just a little
I
bit.
legitimately think that, as we're looking at each one of these relationships, the point is not to just be like, let's talk about this nerdy stuff that happens in the nerd show. Like
Is that my voice?
it's how did you know that was your voice? But the thing is like, what can we pull out of that? How can we see ourselves or people that we know or like real life things in those moments? And I think that that is a perfect example of, Galadriel and Halbrand, like unhealthy, toxic relationships that's going to go nowhere fast. When you need to be able to make that and break that, like make that distinction and break that
Mhm.
when you see that in relationship.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
this is not, I'm not your counselor, but we at LTN, we want people to not just think Christianly, but also think critically about the content that they consume. And so not just letting these shows be things that just wash over you, but allowing them to do what they're supposed to do, which is make you think about the world that you live in by experiencing them in fantastical places. And so, again, we managed to talk about that without really spoiling anything. That was pretty cool.
I hope so.
I wanted to so bad, but I didn't. I will just say there is no King of the Southlands. Anyway, moving on to the very last one. Okay. Durin and Elrond. Or as somebody said in the chat earlier, Durand. Just names, man. This to me is the best. I agree with everybody who said it in chat. The absolute 100% best relationship in the whole show.
Yeah, because there's a lot of nuance in that relationship where it's like, yes, he came to visit Durin under, certain pretenses that he believed,
Mhm.
that he questioned a little bit, but wanted to believe the best and then is finding out that maybe that wasn't true, and then feels bad and like trying to determine loyalties, and then they both kind of find out that they've been keeping some things close to the chest.
Yeah.
And then they have that moment where they own it, and then they move on, like, and try to forge a way to have to build past this moment of weak trust that they both had, and decide that they love each other.
It really needed to come to a head, because they had a relationship in the past and they loved each other. They're best friends. Like that was the story that was being told there. And then something happens. I don't even remember what it was, if it was mentioned, but he didn't end up going. Elrond did not go to the wedding. And Durin, because
he had a bowling tournament.
Oh, he had a bowling tournament. Wow.
That's an inside joke.
That's a story for another day there. That created this fire inside of him that would not be quelched because of dwarfs and the way that they operate. They're a lot like fairies,
kind of feisty.
Just one room for one emotion.
It's a grudge not easily broken is Bingo. What it is.
And so that was something that Elrond had to work on, and even coming in with the little bit of deception that he had in order to gain information that he needed. When he got the information that he needed, he did the right thing with the information. Which was that he did right by his friend.
Well, I mean, he came in and he said, I've been being used, basically. And yes, I really need this certain thing. And it's a huge detriment to both me and my people if I don't have it. But also, I'm not going to exploit our relationship in order to get it. And so if you're telling me that you cannot give me that thing, I will respect that and walk away. And I will respect if you want to discontinue a relationship with me. Basically is what he's
your relationship with me is more important than the thing that I've been sent here to do.
Right. And I'm not willing to use you in order to just get that thing.
And how often do you know people in real life? Maybe you've done this. I know I've done it in some points where you've used position and relationship with people to move forward, to kind of crawl on top of people to go a rung up on the ladder or whatever it is. And again, with Love Thy Nerd, we talk about relationships being really the way that we do everything. Everything is through relationships. And so if we're using people as projects, or if we're using people as a means to get the thing that we need, in this case, Elrond with Durin, when you're presented with that moment, what do you do? Do you move forward with that and do the thing that you know that you should not do? Or do you love your friend well in that moment and do the thing that they need, which is for you to be there for them? And so, I don't know, it's a really interesting thing. And I will say that I feel like the linchpin of all that is the third party, Durin's wife. I cannot remember her name. Disa. She's the mediator to all of this. And when two people are going at each other,
if you did not love Disa, I do not know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. I mean, she brings them together, and
there was just so much I loved about her character.
She's what Durin needs. She's the hard hand that he needs to jar him from things. She doesn't speak sweetly to him.
Oh, she did not.
She speaks to him in the way that he needs to hear it. And she puts him in a position, but then she turns around and she speaks to Elrond in a way that he'll understand where Durin is and what, how he's dealing with his father and all of this stuff. And so it's really interesting that she is that middle person, the mediator that brings them back together. And then from there, they have to do the work, right? The mediator doesn't fix things. They just bring people to a center spot. And with LTN, this is a Love Under podcast. With LTN, that's what we try to do. We try to create those spaces in the middle where people can have conversations when they're on two completely different sides of Rings of Power was good, Rings of Power was bad. Kind of those kinds of deals.
Which happens with every single well-loved fandom, whatever the most recent installation is either the best or the worst, depending on which side you fall on.
Well, and I mean, even
it makes this series. No, it breaks this series. Okay.
I mean, even spiritually speaking, Peter and Paul had a sharp divide, and it made them go completely separate ways. And I could only imagine what that was like at the time. Probably was just bonkers nuts.
Yeah.
But then they were able to come back together. And so like we long for reconciliation. And that to me,
Peter and Paul, or Paul and Barnabas?
Well, both of them actually. They both had pretty sharp divides between the two of them. Three of them, I guess, actually. Who's the common denominator there?
Paul.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that it's interesting to look at that, and I really appreciated and loved that that story, that relationship, at least in season 1, had just about everything I was looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, it full arc.
Yeah.
Full arc. And so we'll see kind of how that flows into.
It was a very, interesting and
fulfilling.
Fulfilling is the right word. Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we do have a Church Nerds weekly verse for you, and also a nerdy recommendation right here on the Church Nerds podcast. You're a baby out there.
Yep.
I'm going to go walk out there and just look him in the eyes.
I can't show my face because he melts down when he sees me. I just have that effect on people, I guess. So we're not getting, I don't think, to talk about it. I had written in all this stuff about like how to recognize like markers of healthy relationships and toxic relationships. And Kate, you had a meltdown the first time you saw me. I feel like we've only actually seen each other once, which is sad. Boo. But yeah, so I got to meet Kate at PAX South one time.
Oh, you need mommy.
He needs to have a snack or something if he's gonna come over here. Yeah. Yes, he wants a snack. I love the dialogue of Rings of Power. Skip the quail sauce. Get the meat and give it to me raw. Okay, Kate. I remember that you were sick. You say you sounded like an absolute monster. That's probably how I feel like I sound right now. But somebody who I was talking to said that I didn't sound as bad as I thought that I sounded, which is a relief because it's like just very like it's a lot of sound in my head right now. Well, thank you. This is my very sultry nasal voice here, and I'm trying not to like snort and sniff, which Bubba doesn't usually let me podcast while I'm sick because he doesn't want to affect the production quality. Also, rest is important and whatnot. But we forged ahead because I have been sick since last Sunday and just cannot shake it. This, whatever I have, is the worst. But our friend who's a pediatrician says that anything with a name is going like around really bad right now. Flu, RSV, COVID, hand, foot, and mouth, just all of the things. Ugh, Silver, losing your voice is really, really not fun. Wow, relationships are so hard and so worth it. Literally like a diamond. Hard to find, require a lot of work, but beautiful and beyond value if maintained. Yes.
Oh, Todd.
Yes.
You old so-and-so.
Oh, Kate, you watched a video on hand, foot, and mouth, and it made you think of us. Thank you. I'm glad that we could inspire.
The old hoof and mouth disease there.
So yeah, Nene had it once when she was little. I mean, once is usually you get it once and then you build a certain amount of immunity to it. She like lost toenails and stuff from it. It is a weird little thing. Bye, Wasabi Jane. See you later.
Bye.
Oh, your wife is
Thanks
a
for stopping by.
therapist. That checks out. That checks out.
Okay.
We ready?
I think we're ready.
We're not going to get to do all of my stuff that I had down here. The markers of healthy and unhealthy relationships and how to look for signs.
No. Sorry.
Oh well.
Sorry,
everybody. Figure it out by yourselves.
So Google.com should have everything you need right there.
It does have a lot.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Well, to close out our show today, we do have a nerdy recommendation for you, and it's Giving Tuesday. I don't know what you thought it was going to be, but obviously it's Giving Tuesday. And the beauty of it is that at the time of this recording and at the time of this listening, if you're listening to it as it drops on Friday, you can go to lovethynerd.com/giving. Lovethynerd.com/give, I'm sorry. And that will allow you to be a part of the actual Giving Tuesday fundraiser that we're doing. The beauty of it is that after that, you can just go to lovethynerd.com/partner. You can give one-time gifts there or also set up recurring giving if you would like to do that. We are doing this thing year-round. This is my full-time job. This is the thing that I do 100% of the time. And so as you're giving to this, you're helping us to move forward and do more of this ministry, whether it be podcasts or video shows or anything like that. So as you give to LTN, these are the kinds of things that you give. Hey, Nomac, thank you so much for those gifted subs. Much appreciated. So that is Giving Tuesday. ! Give in the chat or lovethynerd.com/give. We'll take you there. What is our Church Nerds weekly verse?
Okay. This would have made more sense if I'd been able to do my last little bit that I was hoping to get to about how to recognize the signs of healthy and unhealthy friendships. But Proverbs 12:26 says, "The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray." So you gotta be careful.
It's big time important.
You've got to be careful. Yeah. I think sometimes, it's not that we can't have relationships with people who are not, living the same way that we live or anything like that. But as far as those relationships that you really hold near and dear to your heart, it's kind of important to carefully evaluate them and make sure that they're healthy and good for you and non-toxic, or else you're going to end up sort of a mess.
Yeah. And knowing that you don't have to stay in those toxic relationships.
You do not have to.
It's actually better if you don't. And if you're looking for a place to meet a lot of pretty cool non-toxic people, I would recommend going to lovethynerd.com/discord. That's where we do the bulk of our relationships outside of personal stuff or playing games together or whatever. A lot of that goes on daily on the regs in Discord. So once again, lovethynerd.com/discord. Love to talk to you more about that. If you have any questions, head on over there, talk to our good buddy Silver. She'll get you all set up and show you around. Anything that you need, she's going to be there for you. But I think that that's probably going to wrap it up for us here on this super duper exciting Giving Tuesday live stream version of the Church Nerds podcast.
We did it.
Of which I do not know how often we will do that.
Probably not that often with our children the ages that one of them is right now.
Yes, it is hard enough for just me to be able to do any kind of live streaming, let alone both parents.
If we have a parent who can fight people off of the door and handle the screaming and whatnot.
Yeah, because right now snacks aren't holding it. They're just not
quite.
No.
Not quite.
The line is not holding with the snacks. So, hey, do us a favor. Head on over to our social media at Love Thy Nerd on all the major platforms. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I say Twitter, maybe not Twitter for much longer, but we're trying out a lot of new things. But for right now, yes, over on Twitter. So check us out there. And also you can find us LTN Radio each and every Friday morning. We are live and in charge on that. We're not, but the episode is.
Somebody is.
This episode will air live on this Friday on LTN Radio at ltnonair.com or on the Live 365 app. Just download it and search for LTN Radio.
Yeah, on Black Friday.
On Black Friday.
Ta-da!
Hey, just try using code Church Nerds at checkout and just see what happens everywhere. Who knows? Might work, might not. Well, hey, once again, I'm Bubba.
I'm Anna.
And we'll catch you next time on another episode of Church Nerds, which I think the next one is going to be our final episode of the season.
Plus a Christmas special.
Christmas Eve,
right?
Eve special. Yes.
Yeah.
But hey, if no one else tells you this, just remember it's true. Jesus loves you, nerds. Bye. All right. Hey guys, thank you so much for doing that and for being a part. I'll stop the recording. It's fine.
I was gonna say.
For being a part of that. That's fun. That's exciting. Loved it. Thought it was really cool, and you got to just experience the craziness that is our house daily.
I mean, that was
actually pretty tame.
It was decently mild.
Pretty
Yeah,
tame.
it could have been worse. Could have been much worse. If you've ever done, we haven't done one of these in a really long time, but as stream with our kids.
Oh my gosh. They're screamers.
That is really wild and crazy.
Oh yeah, big time.
And you just never know what's going to be said.